The Indiana Fever must get rid of Kelsey Mitchell. I said it. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever have to move on from Kelsey Mitchell.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for an uncomfortable conversation. The honeymoon phase in Indianapolis is over. The cute Instagram posts, the tunnel fits, the viral smiles riding the wave of the Caitlin Clark economy. That glow is fading fast. What's replacing it is a cold, unforgiving reality of professional sports business. The Indiana Fever are staring at a financial crossroads, and it centers on one name, Kelsey Mitchell. Let's be clear. If Mitchell is unwilling to take a significant pay cut, the Fever may have no choice but to move on. That's not a knock on her talent or loyalty. She carried this franchise through its darkest seasons, endured 20-plus loss campaigns, and remained consistent scoring force. In a vacuum, she's absolutely a max-level player in the Women's National Basketball Association. But this isn't a vacuum. It's a hard salary cap league, and math doesn't care about sentiment. Under the proposed collective bargaining framework, the salary cap sits at $5.65 million. That's the entire pie. If Mitchell signs a supermax worth roughly 20% of that cap, it immediately tightens the franchise's flexibility. And she won't be the only one in line for a massive deal. Aaliyah Boston, the former #1 pick and cornerstone in the paint, will soon be eligible for a max extension. Shortly after, Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest draw and economic engine, will command what could be the richest contract in women's basketball history. Committing max contracts to all three would likely consume more than 60% of the cap. That leaves limited room to build a bench, add depth, or sustain long-term competitiveness. The Fever front office isn't just making a contract decision, they're deciding whether they want short-term loyalty or long-term dynasty potential. The numbers are ruthless, and every Fever fan should understand what's truly at stake.
Likely supermax salary. As Constable noted, if Mitchell were to receive the new max, her contract combined with Clark's and Boston's will leave Indiana with well less than the new average player salary to spend to fill out the roster under the $5.65 million.
Did you hear that math? Do you understand what a max contract for Kelsey Mitchell would really do to this roster? If the Indiana Fever commit max money to Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston, they would be left with almost nothing to fill the remaining 9 roster spots. That means bargain bin signings, undrafted rookies, and minimum salary veterans just to complete the bench. We've seen this blueprint fail before. Look at the Phoenix Suns and the National Basketball Association. They poured their resources into Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, only to find themselves exposed in the playoff because they lacked depth, role players, and a reliable bench. Basketball is a team sport. 3 stars and a roster full of placeholders rarely win championships. And the real heartbreak, the collateral damage. Paying Mitchell likely means sacrificing the chemistry that made last season special. It could mean losing key contributors like Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham, both free agents who won't settle for minimum deals. Hull has emerged as a lockdown perimeter defender who can stretch the floor, while Cunningham has embraced the enforcer role, protecting Clark and bringing edge and toughness to the locker room. Choosing to hand Mitchell the supermax could force the front office to dismantle that supporting structure, weakening the very foundation that helped the team thrive. The message to head coach Stephanie White and the Fever front office is blunt and uncompromising. Depth, chemistry, and balance matter just as much as star power, and this decision will define the franchise's future.
You better do the right thing. If you guys give Kelsey Mitchell a full-on max contract, it is a bad thing. That means we won't be keeping Lexi Hall. We won't be able to keep Sophie Cunningham. They're not going to play.
It is a bad thing. Organizational malpractice. Even. Let's be clear for anyone who believes scoring is the only currency that matters in basketball. The Indiana Fever already have the most powerful offensive engine in the sport with Caitlin Clark. They do not need to cripple their financial flexibility to retain a volume-scoring guard if the fit compromises roster balance. Clark doesn't require another backcourt player who dominates the ball for long stretches to be effective. What she truly needs are players like Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham, elite, switchable perimeter defenders who can absorb the toughest matchups nightly, conserve Clark's energy, and space the floor's reliable catch-and-shoot threats. She also needs toughness and physical presence, teammates willing to defend her, battle through contact, and handle the dirty work. If the franchise lets a defensive backbone walk simply to satisfy a max demand from Kelsey Mitchell, it risks leaving its generational star exposed, like building a luxury mansion with no security on the doors. So what's the alternative? How do dynasties navigate salary cap pressure without imploding? The Fever aren't the first team in the Women's National Basketball Association to face this dilemma. A blueprint already exists. Look at the Las Vegas Aces under Becky Hammon. They managed to sustain a roster loaded with all-star talent not just through skill, but through sacrifice, role clarity, and financial discipline. The lesson is simple. Building a multi-championship contender requires buy-in from everyone, especially the stars.
Got to take pay cuts, okay? Asia Wilson took less than what she could have gotten, okay? She took less. Wilson wasn't the highest paid player in the league or even on her team last year. That was Jewel Lloyd.
Look at the model the Las Vegas Aces built under Becky Hammon. Aja Wilson, the league's MVP and arguably the best player in the world, reportedly left a significant portion of a maximum salary on the table to preserve roster flexibility. The reasoning was simple. Championships require sacrifice. That financial breathing room helped keep a championship core together, including Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, and Kelsey Plum. We've seen similar examples outside the WNBA. Tom Brady consistently structured team-friendly deals with the New England Patriots, allowing the front office to build strong supporting units around him. The common thread is that sustained contenders often depend on stars aligning their financial decisions with a broader goal of winning. That brings the Indiana Fever to a difficult question. Would Kelsey Mitchell be willing to accept less than her full market value to keep the roster intact around Caitlin Clark? From a human perspective, it's complicated. Mitchell is a veteran who carried the franchise through lean years and is approaching a critical stage of her career. This may be her best opportunity to secure a life-changing contract, and few players willingly sacrifice guaranteed earnings, especially after years of rebuilding. There's also pride involved. Transitioning from franchise centerpiece to secondary option alongside a young superstar requires humility that not every competitor can or should be expected to embrace. If Mitchell insists on a full max contract, the Fever front office faces a purely strategic decision. Their mandate is to maximize Clark's championship window. Allocating top-tier deals to multiple stars could restrict depth and limit flexibility, potentially weakening the roster balance needed for sustained success. One possible short-term option would be using the core designation to keep Mitchell for a final run before larger extensions, such as one for Aliyah Boston, fully impact the books. However, even that approach tightens negotiations with key role players and carries long-term risk. History shows that dynasties often require painful choices. Front offices sometimes part ways with respected veterans not because of performance, but because of timing and cap structure. Mitchell remains an elite scorer who deserves to be compensated fairly. The question is not about her worth, it's about fit within a rigid financial framework. The Fever's leadership must weigh loyalty against sustainability, sentiment against structure, and short-term emotion against long-term contention. However this unfolds, the decision will define the trajectory of the Clark era in Indianapolis.